So how do we identify healthy versus unhealthy patterns in our in our families and our family members, especially when we're so used to, oh, wait, that's just family. Oh, that's just how auntie is. And that's how, so-and-so is. How do we recognize healthy versus unhealthy?
Bring somebody from the outside in. And I really actually mean that, because I remember, it's like, you remember when you're a kid and you go over to somebody else's family eventually and you're like, whoa, they do it differently. And I remember when my husband, like, here's this outsider, right, who's coming on to the inside, and he's like, whoa, like, he would make comments. And I was like, oh, that's so fascinating, right? That like somebody who's been on the outside of the family who enters in and all of a sudden sees it through a very different lens. Because you're right. When you're a part of that family system, and this is just how we do things, and this is just how it goes, and this is just how we believe and what we think, right? It's like, you don't know any different for a period of time. Right? Like, as kiddos, we're like, this is truth. This is how it is. This is how everybody must experience it. And then you exit, or you enter into somebody else's family system, or somebody else's family, somebody else comes into ours, and they're like, whoa, why does your dad talk to your mom that way? Or like, why is your sister like that? Or, and they say something like that, that really sort of like ruptures something in the, oh, this is normal. This must be how everybody does it. So I say that kind of like, I'm laughing about it, but there is actually a seriousness to, how do we know? Oh, by being around other people and the way that other people do things, by bringing other people into our families and seeing that. And you alluded to it, right? It's like, the generations that came before us, I think in many ways we are a part of a generation that is beginning to name things and touch things that have historically gone unnamed and untouched. It is hard to own pain and trauma. Right? We have historically been, a family kind of society and culture that tries to protect and explain or reason things away, and doesn't want to say there are problems here, right? We know so many families have family secrets. So many families want to present, quote unquote, perfectly. They require something of us as a way to avoid and distract away from what is actually there. And it's one of the things I think as kids, it's why so many of us lose our relationship with intuition, right? It's why so many of us disconnect from, ooh, something doesn't feel right. Or like, oh, that seems strange. But then the adults tell us, no, it's not. Or no, this is normal. Or no, this is not what you're seeing. And it really disconnects us from that. And so there's a real need for us to restore our intuition, our ability to see and name and trust what it is that we are experiencing. And, one of the best ways to do that is to kind of go back into, I know sometimes people are like, oh, like, I don't want to turn my head around and go back into my like younger years. I just want to keep my head like pointing forward and, eyes on the prize. But I have always found that there is a real need to turn our heads back around. We don't have to hang out there forever, but to turn our heads back around and try to see the things clearly, to try to name what it is that we actually experienced without distorting it, without minimizing it, without maximizing it, without invalidating it, without just doing anything to distract ourselves away from what it is that we experienced. So that piece, to just kind of go back and think about an experience that stands out to you and call it what it was. Call it exactly what it was without having to add extra sentences on to explain it away or reason it away. Just name what it was and how you experienced it. And if that is hard, I'm going to say, like, if it's hard to do that for the past because you're like, well, I just don't know, like, start to name things present day as they are. Not like, well, my partner didn't show up for me because they were really busy at work, right? Just say, I didn't feel prioritized, period. And try it on. See what it like feels like on your tongue and coming out of your mouth, right? To just name the thing and say the thing without going on and protecting other people.